Hello, all you beautiful souls out there. You are listening to Our Guiding Light on Mystical Awakenings Radio. And I'm your host, Arjay, and I'm joined by my soon-to-be lovely wife and my co-host, Deb DeRose. How you doing, Deb?
I'm doing so awesome that, if I were any better, I'd be twins.
Well,
that line.
Well, we have some very exciting guests on tonight, and we're very blessed to have them on. Tonight, folks, we have Kosta Makreas and his lovely wife, Hollis Polk.
Yay.
Yes, and
So excited.
I am too. Kosta is the founder of ETLetsTalk.com, the People's Disclosure Movement, and the Global CE5 Initiative. He is an author, activist, international networker, and online community leader who is actively promoting peaceful contact between humans and extraterrestrial civilizations, which are visiting our planet at this time. Kosta was born in Fort Wayne, Indiana in 1953. In 1977, he earned a BA in computer science from Indiana University. He has been a successful software consultant in Silicon Valley for almost 4 decades. For the previous 9 years, his passion and mission has involved leading and growing the ET Let's Talk community, which has 11,000 members in more than 100 countries. At ETLetsTalk.com, he teaches everyday people how to be successful and to communicate and interact with loving ET spiritual beings. The goal is for humans to co-create with our ET friends a positive planetary transformation, a golden age on Earth of free energy, planetary peace, abundance, environmental sanity, and justice for all. His lovely wife, Hollis Polk, teaches the ET Let's Talk community to develop their intuitive skills in order to communicate with extraterrestrial intelligence and has been making contact for over 10 years. Hollis has a bachelor's degree in engineering from Princeton and at Harvard, an MBA. She also is she practices neurolinguistics and is a certified hypnotherapist. She helps people create lives they love by blending neurolinguistic and hypnotherapy techniques, decision science, intuition, and the common sense learned in over 30 years of business experience. She is also a successful business owner. She teaches classes in intuition development and offers one-on-one personal and professional coaching. So let's welcome.
Wow.
I know, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Let's welcome Kosta and Hollis.
Yay.
Hi.
Welcome, guys.
Hi.
And I want to add, too, that you guys do some amazing retreats. So at some point in this hour, we have to talk about these retreats.
Oh,
That's
absolutely.
okay.
Thank you. We will. Thanks for having us on.
Well, it's our pleasure.
Absolutely. So you guys have been doing this for quite some time.
Yeah.
We have. It's full of lots of experiences. So it actually seems even much longer just because so much has happened as we have been making contact and building the community. But yeah, here we are 9-10 years down the road.
11. Almost 11.
Almost
Wow.
11. Yeah, that's true. Almost 11 since our very first individual ET contacts in 2006, which got both of us really started and ignited onto this road. So Hollis is right. It's going on 11 years.
Now, in this bio, it said 11,000 members. Is that number changed?
Well, it's growing every day. Yeah, and if I were to change it every day, that would be more work than I wanted. When it gets to 20,000, I'll probably update it and all. But the number is there just to give people an idea that it's not just 10 of us that around the world doing this. So 11 is one of my favorite numbers, so I just stuck it right there, and it's growing from there. But like I said, it gives people an idea that there's quite a few around the world in many countries. So this is not just an isolated, local kind of community contact that we're making. This is really a global community.
And we are proud to say that we are also members of that group too.
Yes, we are. We're babies.
Yeah, we're the infants.
I hardly think that. You guys are so probably old souls who are here doing your mission and your passion as well. And maybe this is just a new interest in our community, but I'll bet you've been at this for a long time too. Maybe you're not even from here.
We have. We've been at it for a while, and I had my really first big experience when I was 19. So it's been with me for a long time. Of course, last year Deb got woken up a little bit too. So yeah, we really have a passion for it.
If you haven't told your story on the air, I want to know what happened to you when you were 19.
And also about yours, Deb.
Well, when I was 19, I went backpacking for the first time with a friend of mine, and not too far from where we're at now. We try to make this short, but, we were camping, and at night we were sitting along this river, and he noticed there was a big orange glow, like someone was having a fire along this tree line across the river, and, before you know it, this orange ball was popping up and down and moving, and it came out to the river and right in front of us, and, the hair on our neck was standing straight up, and, my friend was totally freaking out, and I said, well, it knows we're here. So we tried to, talk to it out loud, communicate with it, and there was no sound. It was an orange ball, probably, 12, 13, 14 feet round. And it moved up to a 2 o'clock position. And for some reason, I just decided I was going to concentrate and try to, contact it, just in my mind. And it kept moving in and out. And all we remember, you guys, was just waking up on our backs, looking at each other. We don't remember it leaving. We just said, what the heck happened? And, this didn't happen just in a second. This took quite a while for this whole thing to go down. And we ran into some backpackers the next day and asked them if they'd seen anything. They said no. But oddly enough, I think it was 1991, I saw a UFO show. And this is documented that in October of that year, an orange ball came into 3 Air Force bases, which was, we were camping close, I guess, to Wordsmiths because, the bombers would come over and you couldn't speak. They were that low. So, what I'm thinking now is that I was seeing a precursor to what was going on,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, it had me on the path then, So.
Between the time when you decided to communicate with it telepathically and when you woke up on the ground, how much time passed?
Well, how we didn't have a watch, and of course back then there were no cell phones or anything like that. So it was 1975. I don't know, but I'm thinking, that's just it. I do not know. From none of us remember when it left, and we just remember kind of laying on our backs. Now we were on a real high bank, kind of sitting down with our legs dangling over. But honestly, this whole thing probably took at least 20 minutes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
So,
wow. That's quite an experience, especially when nobody has warned you that something could happen.
Right. Well, I was fortunate, or I am fortunate enough to have 2 older brothers who were always, into the paranormal and into the UFO thing. So I did have someone to talk to.
Great.
That's good.
That's unusual because what I find in my community is people come, and more often than not, they're feeling isolated, and they're saying that their spouse or a family member or a friend or a coworker is not going there with them on this,
Right.
Some of them actually come out and say, my spouse thinks I'm crazy. And I hear those kinds of stories, and I just feel badly because there is evidence from other people I've talked to that this kind of contact, when both partners are not on the same page with it, has led to separation and divorces.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, there may be other things going on, but certainly these kinds of life-changing experiences are going to affect any fissures that are already there in a relationship and probably make them worse, more dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you're very lucky you had close-by family members right there to validate you.
Right. And, we run a metaphysical store here in Prudenville, Michigan, and, it's what you were just talking about. We find that all the time. People come in and, they say, well, people think I'm crazy because I'm talking about this or that, or I don't have anybody to talk to. And, it's just nice for them to have somebody they can, talk about their experiences with. So.
Absolutely. You're performing a great service just by, among other things, just by being there and lending an ear.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Because you never know that the person that comes in that is able to tell you his or her story might be the first time they've been able to do that, and this might be like a huge weight off of their chest or their inner being, and help them to move on to the next thing just because they had someone listen.
Well, we just got a 90-second. What is going on here?
Oh, my gosh.
Hang on.
I have no idea. Our time might have been messed with again. This happened back when we were doing the water protector shows.
Oh,
Our
wow.
time was messed
Is there any way we can...
So if it cuts us off, is there a possibility that you guys can be on tomorrow night?
I won't be here.
You won't.
No, darn.
What?
Yeah, it's being 60 is insane.
Yeah, we've had our show mess with quite a bit.
Now we can keep talking, and it will be on the archive, but I don't know how long it will go. I feel terrible about this.
I know. I'm devastated.
Yeah.
No, it's not your
This
fault. Stuff has happened to us on interviews with other hosts
Mm-hmm.
numerous times.
Yeah.
I
So
had that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we can keep talking, and it will keep recording, even though it says that the show is off the air. What people will have to do is go,
Listen to the
click
archive.
the link and listen to the archive. So as soon as we're through talking, I'll put it up on archive.
Okay.
So we might get a whole hour in. Okay.
Okay, so you're just saying
Okay.
nobody's getting the live experience, but they're getting
Yeah, unfortunately.
Exactly. So we'll just keep on talking, and
Yeah, this is the fourth time it's happened to us, so.
yeah.
Listen
Yeah.
to us on the archive.
Right, everybody listen. Oh,
And we
boy.
apologize.
Yes, we do. And we have found that, this does happen when it's something
Really important.
really important. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
Well, that's some kind of validation.
Yeah.
We're all doing something important, so
Yes,
with.
we are. Anytime you talk about full disclosure, and, I think that we were planning on talking about that a little bit tonight.
Yeah, we were. And, again, we had some people that were out at Standing Rock, and, they weren't supposed to be broadcasting live from there, and two of their shows were cut off very, very early, so 3 of them, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, anyway, that's the way it goes.
Were you able to offer those shows in an archive format?
Yes.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we can keep talking as we would, if we were live, and it'll be there, but it's not live any longer. So.
Well, I will be sending out the archive link to my community for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Check it in. So the audience is there. We know this. The interest is there, and those who are trying to prevent this kind of information from us or from anybody else, their days are numbered.
Right.
And the number's very short.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And we do have, I want to say to the callers, we have callers listening in, via the phone. Don't hang up. As long as you keep listening, you can hear. But if you hang up, you can't call back. So with that being said, let's continue. I don't even remember where we were.
Well, I just got through telling my UFO experience, and I think they wanted to hear yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
Okay, and I'm going to keep it as short as I can, because of what's going on. Last October 1st, the night before, we were involved in the world's largest ghost hunt. I don't know if you guys know what that was all about.
No.
No.
We were it's about collective consciousness and tapping in with time stream, and that's a whole other show that we've done. Anyways, as a medium on that, involved in that, Brian Kano had asked all of the mediums to be open for about a week. Just be on high alert, be open to whoever wanted to communicate with us. So the night before, we were on location setting up. And I was driving home. I'd left there by myself, was driving home, looked down at I had just had a weird feeling. Looked down at my clock, and it said 111. And as I was looking down, I could feel all of my hair stand up everywhere. My skin felt really weird. There was this loud buzzing. And as I looked up, I saw it was a pyramid. To me, it was a pyramid. Some people call it a triangle. But it was golden light, and it was right in front of me. And I could see it lowering, and it was slowly spinning. I'm telling myself I should be terrified, but all I could feel was complete and total love. I couldn't feel anything but love. And my skin and hair. My interior lights had come on in my car, and I tried to turn them off, but I could not get my hands off the wheel. I thought about pulling over, nothing was working. The next thing I knew, it seemed like it disappeared, and I was home in my driveway, and I thought, wow, I don't remember driving home, but man, I'm in shock. It's got to be normal. So this happened where I was at that point. It was about 2 minutes from my house. I pulled in the driveway, still looking at the sky, looking around, going, where is it? What happened? I have to talk to somebody. So I ran in my house, got on my computer, and sent an inbox to one of the women that was doing the ghost hunt with us, and talked to her for a few minutes about it. Of course, I was up all night, several nights.
Yeah, I had to go home early that night because I had to do some readings the next day. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had to talk to somebody. I didn't know until a few days later, when some people convinced me I needed to report this, that it actually took me 1 hour and 8 minutes to get home.
Whoa.
Yeah. Wait a minute. And now, okay, when the pyramid appeared, you were about 2 minutes away from your home, but it took you 1 hour and 8 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wow.
So.
And can I ask you a couple questions?
Absolutely.
How big was the pyramid, and how far away from you was it?
Well, I'll tell you, Hollis, it seemed to encompass the whole sky. It was probably, it was pretty big. I mean, its size is really difficult for me, but it was bigger than my vehicle, I can tell you that, and I drive a Chevy Traverse. It seemed like it was filling the whole sky, but I think that it was closer to me than what I thought.
Okay.
So it was good size and fairly close. Close enough. They did do a MUFON actually sent someone out to do some kind of a test on my car, and this was like 3 months later, and my car still was high with
on the one side, yeah. Mm-hmm. Radiation.
Whatever it is that.
Oh.
Left behind. So it had to have been very close.
And you had no other than the feeling of the love that you mentioned, no other information or that came either during that or afterwards?
Not immediately. Now, I did have dreams. I've had dreams of nothing scary. I could see hands coming near me. I could see... I couldn't see it on myself, but I could see them taking it. It reminded me of electrical tape off my forehead. What that was, I have no idea.
Right.
Other than that, I really...
Well, we did a meditation on it, and so, it's definitely been a profound change in both of our lives, and we're excited.
Yeah. Well, I've always had interest, but, after that I became absolutely obsessed.
And I was just going to make that point, too, that you cannot, in general, or one cannot have an experience like that without being affected in some way. I mean, either it becomes a life-changing event where you swallow it and you don't talk about it, but it's with you and affects you, or like you guys, you're able to talk about it and it puts you on another path. Hollis and I have stories just like that, and this is probably a good point in which to offer ours as well, since we're
Yes,
on
please.
the topic. Like, hey, how did we get here?
Yeah, how did you get here?
Yeah, well, and I'll start. And I'll just give a little bit more background because it's contextual and helps to explain when I had my experience, why it was such a dramatic and quick consequence to it. And that's because there was some background that set it all up. And what I mean by that is when I was growing up in the Midwest, there in Indiana, I in the 60s was an avid NASA fan. Many kids of that generation were that affected us. You know, the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo missions affected the whole world. I was also into science fiction, read all that I could, had a telescope. I was in my backyard a lot, avidly interested in astronomy, and totally in awe of the stars and just staring at them and feeling tugs, like I wanted to be out there and explore, that kind of thing. So my eyes were always on the sky. That's my point. One way or another, reading about it, watching others go into space, dreaming of going into space, and looking at all the celestial objects that I could look at. I also picked up my first UFO book. There were not many books out back in that day, but it totally fascinated me, and I did a science project at school about some incidents in that book. So right there, that set me up. And then a few years later, also heard some stories from people I could trust close to me about personal encounters, like a craft coming right over their car, the car dying, moving, and then the thing hovering, and they could just see the lights rotating silently and beaming down a light on them, and then whooshing away and making impossible zigzag fast patterns in the sky. So I knew other people that, like I said, that I trusted who had UFO experiences. Fast forward to 2006, the internet made available so much more information that I could possibly have dreamed of in my youth. And so one day I discovered a group that had a lot of evidence from military and other officials talking about the cover-up and their roles in it, and also offering a week at Mount Shasta for people to come out under the stars. So I conferred with Hollis, and though I was filled a little bit with fear, I was still excited. So I had both these emotions because I'd grown up again on Hollywood movies, and you know, most of them are scary, evil, violent kind of movies and encounters between humans and other lives. So I had been programmed pretty well with that. Right. However, the other part of me had been into meditation and yoga and Eastern religions, and so I had a really deep spiritual connection and belief in that the universe was basically good. So that part of me allowed me to be excited like a fifth grader, like I'm going to go for a week, go under the stars, and they tell me that we're going to make contact. Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Hollis said to me at the time, look, go, have a good time. I support you. And I know that they're here. It's a huge universe. It's impossible there could not be other life. Yes, they're visiting here, but it does not affect my daily life. So I'm just going to go on about it and just support you with whatever experience you have. So I went, and I had several experiences during that week, but the one that affected both Hollis and me is the following. Well, I'll get into that one in a little bit more detail. What I was doing every day, every morning when I knew Hollis was having her coffee, was to call her up. We were about 4 hours away from our home, and I would tell her what had gone on the previous night in this group of 40 people that were going out under the stars and meditating and making ET contact. We were seeing objects in the sky, and it was all very new to me and very, very exciting. We're being taught what's real and what's not in the sky. And we were also seeing orbs in the trees. So anyway, I had a lot every morning to tell Hollis about the previous nights. And long about the fourth night, or the fourth morning, or maybe the morning after the fourth.
It was the fourth night or the fifth night.
Fourth or fifth night. We never remember. But when I made the call to her to talk about the previous night like I had been doing, she stops me and says, wait a minute, before you get started, I've got something to tell you. And my jaw just kind of dropped like, huh? Okay. This better be good. You know. And it was. And I will...
my turn.
I will give Hollis the turn.
Okay.
So the night before, I had been sitting in bed. I've been reading in bed, and I had to sit up in bed to reach over and turn out the the bedside light, and turned it out. And so I'm still sitting up in bed as I turn around, like to scooch down to lie down and go to sleep. And I'm sitting up in bed, looking straight at the foot of the bed. And as my eyes adjust, I notice there are 3 or maybe 4 little beings standing around the foot of the bed looking at me.
Oh, wow.
And the thing is, like Deb's experience, they were all love.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't be afraid. But I was completely shocked because I was completely unprepared.
Yeah.
But as I stared at them, I heard telepathically, "Who are you?" It was like this very sweet kind of voice. It was just curious,
Oh, wow.
Who are you? And I should say that, like I say, I heard it telepathically, but what I saw with my eyes open.
Mm-hmm.
While my internal clairvoyance is quite good, my external clairvoyance, meaning, seeing energy fields and whatever, is it's kind of iffy.
Yeah.
But with my eyes, I saw these, again, little beings, 3.5 to 4 feet tall, white, kind of translucent, large heads, kind of thin arms, bipedal. I couldn't see their legs. I mean, I'm assuming they had legs, but they were standing around the foot of the bed, so I couldn't see them,
Right.
Yeah, right.
So I see these beings, and I'm completely shocked. And I mean, literally, my mind went blank, which I don't think has ever happened before.
Trust me, it's never blank.
I can relate, Hollis.
You're like, and after a while, I thought, I should ask them something. And the only thing what should I ask them? The only thing I could think is, where are you from? Which actually, like in retrospect, what I should have said was, how did you get here? It's a much more interesting question, but, and especially because I don't really know anything about astronomy, and I knew even less than, like the North Star. That was pretty much it. Maybe the Big Dipper. Like, that was it. So what I heard in my mind, so I thought to them, where are you from? And what I heard in my mind very slowly was, Arcturus.
Ooh.
And the thing is, now, what I will say is, I mean, the next morning I had to ask Kosta, is that a place?
And of course I said, yeah, that's Astronomy 101. It's a super red giant. It's an actual star system and well known.
Okay, but what I will say is, it's very possible that somewhere in my travels somebody had said that word to me and I had no conscious recall, but that it was in my unconscious somewhere. So I will, I'll allow that. But
Right.
The thing about them showing up in the bedroom, yeah, man, I couldn't have made that up. My imagination isn't that good. Never the person to read science fiction. Like, I maybe read 1 or 2 science fiction books when I was a kid that my dad had given me, who had also given me Chariots of the Gods to read.
Awesome book.
Was a great book. But I mean, like, that was it. It wasn't like I was I never saw a sci-fi anything movie. I went to see the first Star Wars and fell asleep.
Oh, geez.
I was just bored.
She's not the science fiction chick,
I was
okay?
just bored, So anyway, so I literally couldn't have, what I saw could not have come out of my unconscious anywhere,
Right.
because it wasn't in there to be had.
Right? Exactly.
So, yeah.
So what we speculate is that because of our connection, Hollis and mine, obviously we're husband and wife, and was talking to her, I'm guessing that some beings that I contacted up there at Mount Shasta during my week there making contact just were probably wondering, where's this strong energy cord that is leading away from this man? Where does it go? It's like the pot at the end of the rainbow. Let's go follow.
Right.
It ends up, and they found Hollis at the other end, and hence the who are you kind of question.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you what, though, at that point, as Hollis related that to me, my jaw just dropped because I was not prepared to hear that from her. I was the one with all the stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she had just one-upped my best story. I'll tell you my best story after I finish with this, but she one-upped that one. And I'm grateful because the next thing she said was,
he already knew he wanted to go next year to Mount Shasta, and I said, hey, next year I'm going with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
And the thing is, that's what got both of us started to go repeatedly to these experiences, these retreats, and have even more experiences. And that's really, at the end of the long road, how we find ourselves talking with you now.
Mm-hmm.
We just kept it up, the contact, one way or the other. And I have those Arcturians to thank for that.
Mm-hmm.
So what I often say in interviews is, wherever you all are today, and if you're listening, thank you for making that appearance to Hollis and making it personal for her, because they must have known, yeah, she's a believer, but she doesn't believe it's personal, and now it is.
Right.
And she's been with me since then, and that's huge. And if you'd like, I'd like to tell you about one more experience I had.
Oh, we'd love to hear it.
The most dramatic one was one night after, we often would stay out till about 1 a.m., for hours under the stars, making contact. After our group broke up, the larger group, I think it was around 12:30, and most people were starting to go home. I think about a group of about 10 of us were still milling around in the secluded clearing in those woods at the base of Mount Shasta, where we had been conducting our contact. We're just still milling around, talking, just taking our time getting back to get back to our motels in town. And someone tugs on my sleeve and points to my right, and I looked over about, and it couldn't have been more than 6 or 8 feet away. And there I stared right at us into space and watched a slowly manifesting sphere that was opaque, and I was maybe about 6 feet across, and it was just kind of phasing in, like you would do slowly in a special effect, and and it did it so slowly that I had time to rub my eyes and go, say what? And look at the shadows, check out the trees, because there was foliage there, and I'm going, is this a trick of my eyes? I need to eliminate that. Is it a little bit of the moonlight that we had? Part of that too. But the more I stared, this sphere was becoming more visible, more solid. It never became what I would call solid.
Mm-hmm.
From what I can tell, I didn't touch it. For all I know, it was, but I was respectful and a little fearful not to touch it, because I could have walked over and done that.
Mm-hmm.
But it floated there above the ground noiselessly and without any other environmental anything going on, like wind or smell or vibration, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Just silently for half an hour. And in the company of all those people, none of us thought to pull out the digital cameras we'd been using earlier in the night to take pictures, to take a picture of this thing, right?
Right.
I didn't think of it till...
That's the way it goes usually.
Yeah, but we were all talking in hushed whispers
Mm-hmm.
and pointing at it and wondering, okay, clearly this is a craft. Clearly it's responded to our call to make contact earlier. That's what we were there for. That's what we were doing. They showed up. One of the members from across the way then exclaimed to the rest of us, hey, I just got a telepathic message. They tell me that those who are inside there are scientists and that they're here on Earth doing research on the human energy systems.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, we're part of a field trip here. Scientific field trip. All right, children, line up. Everyone have a partner. Okay.
We're the animals in the zoo.
We're the animals. Yeah, if we want to be really unkind about humanity, we would say we are the animals in the zoo, and that's a topic for another time. But
right.
But anyway, that gave us a little bit of context, and here's where the story gets even more interesting, because there was a woman whom I will call Gloria, someone who was a friend there, a very psychic lady in her own right, very good at it, who was standing next to me for that half hour. But what she was doing was standing very stiff as a board and held her arms parallel to each other out at 90-degree angles from her body, with the palms turned, not facing upward, but turned facing each other. Just inanimate like that for half an hour. And if you've ever tried to hold your arms out, extended
Right.
body like that for half an hour, try that sometime.
Right.
It ain't easy.
Yeah.
No.
But she did that, and as I looked at her, I realized, okay, something's going on, because she's not behaving or acting normally or talking to me, totally quiet. So I decided just to leave her be, because I wanted the thing to play out, whatever was going on. And I was standing close to her, close enough that if she were to show some kind of distress, I would be there to alert people and, maybe grab her or something.
Mm-hmm.
But for the half hour, she didn't, until she did. At the end of the half hour, she kind of visibly shook and started muttering and was disoriented. So I was saying, Gloria, this is Kosta. Are you here? Whatever. Are you okay? She said, yeah, I'm okay. And as she kind of gathered her wits about her, she told me a little bit of the story. Later on the following afternoon, she told our assembled group the fuller story. So here is that story. What had happened was that one of the scientists apparently approached her telepathically and asked her if he or she, we don't know, could merge with her and study and do a quick study on her energy system. So true to their word in the telepathic message that they were doing research, they were using the person here standing next to me as their next subject, right? And I didn't know it at the time, but okay, it's what was happening. She had the presence of mind, she tells us, to agree telepathically to this scientist doing a merge with her,
Mm-hmm.
but under three conditions. The first condition was that they would leave whenever she told them to leave. Time to get out, you go.
Right.
And they agreed to that. The second was that she was to remain conscious, didn't want to be knocked out and unaware of her surroundings. So she wanted to be somewhat or a lot aware of those surroundings and of who she was while this was going on. The scientist agreed to that. The third condition was, not unsurprisingly, she said, I don't want you touching my sexual equipment.
Right.
Organs, no probes, no funny stuff. And yeah, we laugh, but I'm going, what a great presence of mind, truly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do this, but here's the contract, and I want this notarized and signed in my lawyer. Okay. So the scientist agreed to that, and the experiment went forward as I described. They did what they did, and all I saw was her just standing immobile for half an hour until she didn't. So that's the story, and that changed my life, because after she kind of collected her wits and told me that, the sphere that had been floating there started dissolving in terms of just fading out. Kind of the same way it faded in, it just slowly faded out, and suddenly it's not there. It's just the forest floor again with the trees and shrubs. So, yeah, go on.
I was just going to ask, did they ever say where they were from?
No.
Nobody
asked, or at least they didn't tell me. Other people may have had communication telepathically, but didn't verbalize it to the group.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I know. But the effect was lasting, no matter where they're from. That was the kind of story that was getting me all excited to call Hollis and then have her experience. So we both had these kind of life-shaking, altering experiences with cosmic beings
Mm-hmm.
that that nobody could take. And going back to what I said earlier about the context, yes, I had already believed in UFOs, so this particular experience fit right in. I knew what was going on. There was no surprise, really no fear, no other kind of feeling, but I had read science fiction, so this was like, here's my story finally. Nobody can take this from me.
Right.
It's not secondhand, even from a trusted person. It's mine. What am I going to do with it? At that point, I decided I want to dive deeper into this whole subject, learn to do more contact, and because I'm a community organizer and facilitator, I want to teach other people, because I think this is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Beings become cosmically human and reduce the fear about these others.
Absolutely.
So that we can really meet fully and openly and lovingly in the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I totally agree.
And I'm sticking to it.
I love it. I love it. Your stories are amazing. I mean, I'm sitting here with goosebumps.
Yeah, and that, last year, Hollis and Kosta, we put on a Flower of Life healing retreat in Buckley, which is just south of Traverse City here in Michigan, and we decided to stay an extra night, and we were all sitting around the campfire, and of course, I just kept looking up all night, and the moon was probably, started to come up the horizon, and right behind the moon, a sphere came out, like I said, kind of opaque and whitish, and then before I could even say anything to anybody else there, it just kind of fizzled and faded right out. So, yep, I know exactly what that sight is like. It's very, I don't know, it's just, just a lot of joy and love seeing it and knowing that, there's so many others out there that we are going to meet someday.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And that's what you mentioned earlier to talk about the retreats, and I do want to do that because it's a perfect subject in that, for right now, in that what happened to us, we don't consider ourselves so special that we're the only contactees or experiencers. Far, far from it.
Mm-hmm.
We teach other people how to do this contact at ETLetsTalk.com. And to that end, you can do a lot over the internet to teach people and to have teams all over the planet that we do have joining us every month to make contact. But there's nothing like having a retreat, meeting people in person. And so at Mount Shasta, in the last couple years, I've led groups of people out under the stars for many nights, the same way that I had experienced, to have that kind of group experience, face-to-face with each other, where we can support each other and help each other, and also to learn how to better have this contact. And we have had ground contact and sky contact, and we've even danced with ET energies in the middle of our field.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Last summer at Mount Shasta, we had Sister Sledge playing one night at the end of the night. We are family. I got all my sisters and me. That's fun. And
I got my ETs with me.
I got all my ETs. We're changing the word. The group
that's cool.
and others were feeling the ET energies in the field. So it was amazing. And so this year I'm holding 3 retreats at Mount Shasta in June, and also later on in September in Bloomington, Indiana. They're in the heart of the Midwest near you guys. And
awesome.
October in Joshua Tree in Southern California, near the national park there, which is an amazing area. So I want to invite people to come to ETLetsTalk.com and, join for free as a member. You can also register for the retreats. And once you sign on as a member, I send monthly announcements about our virtual ET contact retreats with all our teams.
Mm-hmm.
People join in on a Saturday for 24 hours. And I've chosen the Saturdays so that they're near the new moon.
Mm-hmm.
People have a dark sky, because though the lights in the sky are not the only thing that this is about, we do have contact in our living rooms, in our yards, in our cars, as you guys were also attesting.
Mm-hmm.
Alice can attest. But for those people who like to be outside, the new moons make it a lot easier because you can see so much more.
Right.
So I've been doing those monthly events now going in our 7th year. And the point has been to establish a rhythm, to build a field, a group field, so that we have a network now around the planet that meets at a predictable time during those 24 hours, wherever it's convenient for people, because the time zones are different. It doesn't have to be exactly the same moment. But we've built up an energy, a human field of invitation to our star visitors, our star friends, to connect with us during those times. And of course, I tell people in the community, and I correspond with hundreds of people and hear lots of stories, but I tell them, you don't have to wait for the monthly thing. Once you learn the technique of making your own contact, and they know where you are and how to find you because of your vibration, you can make contact daily, weekly, whenever you want, daytime, nighttime. It really becomes easy because the ETs find a creative way and safe way to contact everybody eventually. So that's kind of what we offer, and I just wanted to issue that invitation to people to come to ETLetsTalk.com and to join the community. We're having...
Since we joined the two times that we were supposed to gather, unfortunately here in Michigan, we had very rainy, cloudy weather, but I know the last time we just came here to the store and we all went through the meditation.
We have a meditation area because we have a weekly meditation group, and that's what we did is we met there and did the meditation there. And I want people to know that what you guys are doing, bless you for doing this, because the awareness that it's bringing is amazing. And, knowing that we can open up to contact them, that's something I had never thought of. But during these experiences, when we meditate, and you can kind of feel there's so many people, other people doing it at the same time, or within that 24-hour period, it's like the veil is kind of lifted.
Yeah.
We could really feel them.
Thank you for validating that. I appreciate hearing that feedback from folks like you, because that's what it's about. The ET Let's Talk community is a safe place for people to share their stories. So something that other people might consider weird, we're listening, we kind of educate each other and inspire each other. So thank you for sharing that and for participating. I look forward every month to all the people that will contact me all over the world. My email inbox fills up with people saying, "Hi, this is so-and-so from Croatia. They'll be finding us here in the town square." Or, "Hi, I'm coming in from the UK or Australia or Mississippi," whatever. It's just so wonderful to realize that at every one of those geographical spots, there are human beings like myself taking their time out to open their hearts and minds and to make this contact instead of doing something else, being at a party or at a movie or whatever. This is important enough to them that they're joining and building the group energy.
Since we have both of you there, and I'm just kind of curious about this. Now, when you guys meet, I'm just interested in, do all of you have night vision goggles, or what do you use, or are you just watching, or some of...
Nobody has night vision goggles.
Nobody?
We did. And to be fair, where we live near the coast, and it's cloudy and rainy a fair amount of the year. So we never know beforehand whether the weather will be good enough for us to go out. But speaking personally, I've had some amazing experiences in our living room. And I know other people have too. So it's not really a requirement to go outside. I mean, lights in the sky are nice and can be persuasive, particularly for newbies, and particularly because if if 8 people see the same thing,
right,
they're not all crazy, right?
Right. Validation, yeah.
Right. Where if you see something clairvoyantly in the room with you, like I know you guys, I heard you say you do readings, and Deb says she's a medium. So you have what, when I was learning to do readings, was called having your own certainty, right? Seeing your own abilities enough. Well, I trust what I see. but not everybody will.
Mm-hmm.
And right. So, you will see stuff in your room clairvoyantly. I will almost guarantee it. One time, this is actually a funny story. One living room experience wasn't had by us. Kosta and I took the group out up to one of the places where we go to meditate, and we had, sky things going on up there. And a friend of ours, somebody else who does CE5 from New Zealand, was stopping by on his way back from somewhere in the U.S. And the deal was his plane was getting in while we were out at the site. So we put a key under the mat and, just said, let yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
So he let himself in, and he decided that since we were outside meditating, he would sit down and meditate. And he sat on our living room couch and meditated. And he said he was joined by an ET. And he described this being exactly. You see, he had brown, leathery skin, kind of scrawny neck, large head, bipedal. He said he was very nice energetically, and whoever the being was meditated there with him for a while and then left.
Mm.
So,
Very cool.
that can happen. And I believe Doug, our friend Doug. I totally believe him. We've had experiences with him. He's not making anything up. So,
right.
Yeah.
And the thing is that the best instrument we all have, there's two of them, our brains and our hearts. You can add night vision and augment yourself with a lot of things. You can add tones, you can beat drums, dance, sing, whatever. I think it's all about the vibration that you raise and the group coherence that you create among a group of people who are united in their hearts to do this.
Yes.
And that's what I think the ETs really, our star friends really key in on.
Right.
It's coherence and our love, which can be achieved by a lot of different ways. But primarily, if all you got is your brain and your heart, and you unite them and you send out the call and raise out the love vibration and then invite them in, they will come. And like I said, in a lot of different kinds of ways. So I don't want people to get hung up on, hey, I got to spend $5,000 to get a great night vision scope. It is nice. We've looked through those,
Mm-hmm.
and you see so much more in the sky than you otherwise could, and they're fun, but not totally necessary. Your heart and your mind are the best available, and you can do that anywhere with those kinds of instruments.
And I totally get that. Yep. Okay, so I see we are getting close to the top of the hour, but I could talk to you guys for all night.
All weekend. We should.
Yeah.
We really should come to a retreat.
We really should.
And I really encourage anybody that can to do that. So how do they contact you? Is it easiest to go through ETLetsTalk?
There's two ways. ETLetsTalk.com. Just join as a free member. You can build a profile, but at the very basics, your email address and a name, and then I know how to contact you. People can also email me directly, Kosta, Kosta, at ETLetsTalk.com, ETLetsTalk.com, and I will respond and give any kind of information. I love to meet new people and to help people along. And by the way, I also learn a lot from people. Believe me, I don't have the most dramatic stories. I've heard some stuff, motherships in the desert, with friends and tractor beams and stuff like that I hear, for example. So this is a bilateral thing. I'm learning from people in the community as they're joining as much as teaching this. And that's what makes it always different, very unique, very inspiring.
Well, it's very obvious that this planet is going through some wonderful changes. If you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, if you just pay attention to the right things and, like you said, put your mind and heart where it's supposed to be, we're all going to be a part of this great, big, giant, humongous, beautiful thing. And Deb and I are excited and waiting. I know you guys are, and
Yes.
And just can't wait.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that, you know, the humans as one of the many, many races in our galaxies, you know, it's time for us to eliminate the fear and accept the love. You know, it's important that we become one with all. So, you know, bless you guys really for what you're doing, because I can think about this stuff, you know, that we all need to become one, but you guys are actually making it happen. And I wish I would have known about you sooner.
Right.
Yeah.
So
thank you very much for your kind words.
We're all one anyway.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
paying attention to that and focusing on that instead of on what separates us.
Right.
That's very well put. And I want to echo about what you said, the exciting things coming. My main theme in doing this is that we're co-creating the future that we want, what I call the golden age of Gaia, and what others have called that too, star friends. I just tell people in the community that we humans are required to get our act together and do a lot of the work ourselves. Nobody's going to do that for us, because then we evolve and learn and grow. But we also have a lot of help. It's like having a teacher or an older friend who will extend their hand and help if you ask, to help you take a next step that you're not sure of, or to tell you something you don't already know. The assistance is there. In ET contacts that we've had, they have emphasized to us, think of us as elder brothers, sisters, and cousins, not as gods.
Right.
Here to co-create with you. So nothing else, I want to leave that with your listeners, that's really what we're about. Becoming cosmic humanity, stepping up, growing up, maturing as a species, and unleashing the spiritual potential we have to really create a paradise on this planet.
Right.
And have all this help from civilizations that have done this before and have survived, are willing to share that with us. So I look forward to full open contact someday. And I really believe it's not more than a few years away.
Yeah, I agree. And wow, well, thank you so much, you two. I hope we can do this again. And we have to meet face to face for sure one of these days. So
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Thank you for coming on and talking to us and sharing those incredible stories and information. And bless you both. And we'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Our pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Friends. Bye-bye.
Bye.
No.
Bye-bye. And thank you all for hanging in there tonight. Those of you who are on the phone can still hear us. You can find this on archive. Feel free to share the link with anybody that will listen.
Right.
So bless you all. We love you, and we will see you soon. We'll talk to you again next week.
Yes, we will.
Maybe we should go through I'll run through really quick of other shows.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, we don't know what's happening because Beth and Barry are unavailable. So anything could happen tomorrow. Wednesday night, we have Mystical Awakenings. Thursday is X Paranormal. Friday is The Missing Voice. Saturday, I don't know yet. Sunday, we have Chambers of Paranormal. And then Monday, back to our Guiding Light.
So until then, we will keep in touch, and we love you all. And good night.